I'm not going to stand here in front of one of the great wonders of the world and argue about an old movie. I'll go back inside. If you figure out some plan to make $800 last a lifetime, knock on the door. I'll be in there.
You're listening to the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steinler.
All right, welcome back to the Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by Bart Steinler. If you're just tuning in or you've been listening the whole time, we've been talking about all kinds of good stuff. Why it still makes sense to pay a financial advisor. Article out of Barron's talking about that. You may have to retire earlier than you want to. Also a discussion that we had and thinking about the idea of, are your plans for retirement really compatible with where you work and how things actually work there? And is your health compatible? I mean, one thing we didn't talk about that is, if you're on 3 medicines, you're 100 pounds overweight, you drink a little bit too much, and you don't go to the gym, and you're 50, thinking you're going to work till 70 might be a little bit
of a stretch,
of an optimistic outlook, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest,
Yeah.
Or if you've had 2 knee surgeries and your job requires you to be on your feet 8 hours a day,
like you're doing construction.
Yeah, is it really realistic you'll be able to do that for 20 years? I mean, no, it's probably not, know. There's a number of different things. It's just like when we talk to people about Social Security, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. When you're choosing about the time you're going to take Social Security, there's so many factors that go into them, but one of them is health. I mean, if your health is not, we all think we're invincible, right? Mm-hmm. But every year I get older, I feel a lot less invincible than I did the year before. You have to be honest with yourself, right?
Yes.
You'd love to go ski for 2 straight months, out west, but after a couple of days, you realize
you need a break. Yeah. Right? I used to go out and I'd ski 5 days in a row, and now I ski 2 and I need to take a day off. So can't do it.
I want to remind you, if you ever want to contact the show, there's a number of ways you can do it. Give us a call at 888-98-MONEY is the number, 888-986-6639. You can email us, info at keepingyourmoney.com. You can find us on Facebook or on the Twitter. Just go to facebook.com/keepingyourmoney or Twitter. It's Keeping Money. And, of course, you can always find our podcasts on all of our podcast partners. Just search for the Keeping Your Money Show at whatever your favorite podcast place is. So last week we talked a little bit about the people that hate annuities and the people that only think annuities are the only thing, mostly because they're only licensed to do it. There's some interesting articles that have come out in the recent weeks that I thought it would be good to continue on this subject. And the thought process being, we talk a lot about pensions, especially city pensions and state pensions, municipal type pensions, and how underwater they are. Mm-hmm. A lot of news recently of a lot of large companies, Lockheed Martin, the most recent one, deciding to what they call de-risk their pension, meaning they're going to stop worrying about if they have enough money, and instead they're turning that money over to an insurance company and saying, we want you to tell us how much to give you, and we want you to be able to give those payments to our retirees for the rest of their life. Well, folks, that's called an annuity.
Right.
I mean, that's what that is. And I think the word annuity has become synonymous with high-pressured, used car salesman kind of guy sitting at your kitchen table with an 80-year-old couple and selling them this horrible thing they can never get out of that costs, tens of thousands of dollars in commissions. And I think that's unfair. But I also think it's unfair to say, well, everyone should have one, because that's ridiculous. Just like anything, there's not anything that everyone should have except maybe like water.
Right. So on one, we talked about this last week. On one side of the table, you have people that are building their whole business around being annuity salespeople.
Mostly because they're not licensed to do anything but that.
Right.
And if you want to see an example, just drive down 131. There's a few billboards out there that are going to secure and lock in your retirement with no risk and all this. Well, those are annuities.
Yeah.
Generally long-term ones.
Right. And then on the other side, you have people that have looked at this and say, you know what? I am going to develop a whole marketing campaign by making out annuities to be this terrible, terrible product, and thus I will tap into all of this money that people have in annuities, and I'm going to get them to get it out of annuities and to invest it in my portfolios that I'm selling.
Right.
So both of these people, we feel, are equally wrong, and that your situation should be analyzed as an individual. And perhaps there are products that you need that are annuities, and perhaps there are not. But until you sit down with an independent financial advisor
an independent, licensed financial advisor.
Right. Meaning he is a securities licensed, and he can also sell insurance products. So he's not dependent on one or the other to make his living. He can go with which is best in your best interest.
And to clarify one thing that you said, I've disagreed in just real small, but I don't think they're equally as wrong. I think the guy who hates annuities could still potentially create a good portfolio and take care of their clients long term, because I think it's possible to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't think he's as wrong as the guy that shoves everybody into annuities.
Yeah, and when I said that, is what I meant is he's equally as wrong by making the assumption that his product that he has, because in most cases he has, pre-packaged portfolios that he's selling.
Sure.
And so he's equally wrong in the fact that he's assuming that what he already has on his shelf is what you need.
Right.
And in that way.
Well, and I think that's where, if you're looking for a financial advisor, you need to be looking for someone who wants to know about your situation and then goes out to find what you need. So often the product is the ultimate point of the meeting. If you go to a seminar at Ruth's Chris tonight and they give you a free steak and you sit there for 2 hours and listen to a guy tell you about the evils of the stock market, okay, he is already telling you from the very beginning his goal, and his goal is to sell you an annuity, right?
Yep.
No different than if you go to an educational seminar somewhere and the guy starts out from the very beginning saying you should never have an annuity. Well, his goal is to sell you some other type of investment, right? And I think the point is that no two people are the same. You can have two people that are both 65, that were born the same day, went to the same high school, the same college, have the same job, and they will need different things because maybe their wives are different ages. Maybe one doesn't have a wife. She passed away, or they're divorced, or one has 4 kids, one has 1. Maybe one has none.
Maybe one has a pension and the other doesn't. Maybe one has rental property that provides him substantial income on a monthly basis and the other doesn't.
One has health issues. One doesn't.
Yeah.
One works for themselves and contributed the minimum they could possibly get away with to Social Security. One fully funded Social Security because they worked for an employer and they maxed out the income every year. I mean, there's so many variables to the situation. It's impossible to say what anyone needs. If someone called right now and said, I have $1 million, I want to retire in 2 years, what would you do with it? I have no idea. Mm-hmm. I know nothing about you. I have no idea what you need. What you need to do is sit down, go through an actual review of what you're doing, what your goals are, what you're hoping to accomplish, what's your risk tolerance, really come up with a plan. The plan will reveal what needs to be in the plan. Instead of saying, here's the 3 products I really like all of my clients to own, as soon as I talk to them, I'm going to figure out how these products fit. And unfortunately, we see a lot of times that's the way a plan goes. It's my company recommends XYZ fund, so therefore, after you get done talking, I'm going to figure out how XYZ fund will work for you. And it's kind of the difference. We heard all this talk about fiduciary over the last couple of years with the DOL and everything, but I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of times when you're talking to a financial advisor or a financial broker or registered representative or whatever you want to call them, they're working under a suitability clause, which just is, it has to be suitable. So if you're working with somebody who will just give you a bond fund because you need a bond fund and not give you the best bond fund they can find, you're working with the wrong person. And the way you can kind of figure that out a lot of times is if the statement matches the name of the investment, or if you own all of the same family from a type of investment, or if there seems to be a lot of, the same thing going on, there's probably not as much due diligence going on there. Yeah. But not to get too far away from the annuity, because I think it's important to know that annuities were designed from day one so that you do not outlive your income. We hear the number one thing people say is, I don't want to outlive my income. The number two thing they say is, but God, I don't want an annuity, and it's because these sharks out there have created this hostile environment for a product that sometimes can be very beneficial for people. Not everyone, not all the time.
Right.
Just like with anything else, there's not any absolutes one way or the other. Make sure you're open-minded and working with someone who is looking out for your best interest, not just their paycheck. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about Social Security. When should you take it? Right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
The ups and downs of a roller coaster are fun for some people, but maybe too nerve-wracking for others. The same is true for the ups and downs of the stock market. If your palms sweat when the market fluctuates, it may be time to reevaluate your investment choices. The ride to your financial future shouldn't keep you awake at night. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY to get off the roller coaster and onto solid ground.
Hey, this is Jamie Westenberg. I want to introduce one of our great community partners, Kids Food Basket. Bridget Clark-Whitney, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Thanks, Jamie. Kids Food Basket is a community solution to a community problem. We're attacking childhood hunger here in West Michigan. We're nourishing kids to be their best selves in school and in life. We'd love for you to get involved. Check out our website at kidsfoodbasket.org.
It's an amazing organization. Keeping Your Money Show is happy to be a partner with them. You can help with as little as 1 hour donated of your time or as little as $20 a month. Check them out, kidsfoodbasket.org.
Kylan Law provides clients with the clarity and confidence they expect from attorneys that live and work in the evolving business world and your community. As the owners of Michigan-based businesses, our attorneys bring insight and real-world experience to the firm. Kylan Law is your resource for estate planning, helping your family with effective strategies and solutions. Kylan Law, your business, your estate, your law firm. Contact us at 855-453-4536 or at kylanlaw.com.
Oh, hi. Right now, I'm getting a remarkably heartfelt bear hug from Smokey Bear. Thanks, big guy. Now, if you could let me down. See, I made sure there were no low-hanging branches when I set up my campfire. And before we left, I drowned out my campfire, stirred it, drowned it out again, then made sure it was cold. Visit SmokeyBear.com to learn tips to prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Rich is just a really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich? No. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.